It's
Gotta
like
love the robot voice.
that robot is almost British sounding lady. I got some Doctor Who vibes from that robot right there.
I know. I would get in the TARDIS with her.
I would too. Even though that's clearly someone that wants to, steal my bones or whatever robots do. They're just envious of humans because they don't got bones, I'm pretty sure. Oh my gosh. Well, hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Welcome to Drunk Comics.
Yes, I'm super excited to be here and super honored to drink and talk comics. Just the perfect marriage of my two favorite things. One of my two favorite things. So stoked.
Two of your two favorite things, I was gonna say.
Yeah, exactly.
You're already a few drinks in, obviously. So, how did you get into comics and superheroes?
Cool. Well, my name is Noah. I go by the moniker Noah the Alpha Geek on social media platforms of the various kinds. So I'm an '80s kid. I know it doesn't look it, but I was born in '83, so coming up on 37 years old. Batman. That was my jam. That '89 Batman movie started my love of everything comic books. Right, all of it. Well, like I don't know, Master Universe, but like that Michael Keaton as Batman in '89. Not only did I have every toy, I then started needing the Batman comics, man. It wasn't enough to like run the Batmobile across the bathroom or bathtub rail and like do all that stuff. I needed to read it. So that's kind of what happened, man. That was it. That movie's like, whoa, it brought it out. And then like from there on, I was just hooked. That all it took was like, I'm Batman. And then done. That was it for me. And I had to have mostly Batman comics. DC was my jam in the late 80s. And then a little cartoon came along in the 90s. We all know it.
Yes.
The animated series X-Men sort of like jump-started my like deep dive into comics. That's when I'm like, I gotta have it all. Between Image and Marvel and all of it. So that really, Vertigo. So I guess maybe media other than comics got me into comics, but I'm glad it did because
and I love how comics is like there's other media that kind of like advertises for comics, and that media affects the comics while the comics also affects that media. So like the comics affects the TV shows and the movies and it influences them, but they also in turn influence the comics. So like it's really interesting to me.
It is very interesting because like you talk about, I know we're here to talk about some sweet X-Men stuff, but because you mentioned that, like most people are like, Harley Quinn, they don't know that like that's from the Batman animated series.
Hell yeah. She
like,
was created for Batman the Animated Series.
Exactly. And then she became like this icon now. But if that cartoon didn't exist, the likelihood of her existing would be probably zero, I would say, right?
Yeah. And wasn't Jimmy Olsen created for like the Superman radio show, if I remember right?
Yes, that is, I think so. Wow,
and
it's funny how that works, man.
And I think Kryptonite also was created for the Superman radio show, if I remember my Superman right. And if not, there's already a rule that you can correct in the comments, but you can't be a dick about it.
Yep. I like
That's the Drunk Comics rule because we're drunk people. We're not going to get everything right.
No, but like it's about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about like how we get there. Oh, and just the fun we have on the way. But yeah, that's right. And that's sort of like, because like if you think about it, if you don't go straight to comics, especially as a kid, like unless you were like in 1935, because then you only got like radio or comics. Us 90s kids and 80s kids, it was also like MTV.
We had it amazing. That was the best time to be a kid, man.
By far the best time. If you want to talk about like drunken action figures, man, I can go to He-Man and all this other stuff, man. That's 80s and 90s were so great. But yeah, and I'm so thankful for like that, Tim Burton and all of them to like take a chance on that, because again, that was a huge chance. But yeah, that's kind of my love of comic books started out with love of media, and I'm like, You got to know more. I have to know more about this Batman and these X-Men and the Max, because MTV, man, in the early years they had like Aeon Flux and the Max and all of these crazy shows based on like Image Comics and stuff, man.
MTV was so cool in the early years. What happened?
They're dead. TRL. And that's what happened.
And reality shows.
Yeah, exactly. TRL and the Paris Hilton show and all those other shows. It just.
And this is why we drink.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
I'm gonna pour some of this out to my dead MTV homies right here.
Yeah.
But no, we're here to talk about X-Men Age of Apocalypse. So on the rankings, it's high up there. It's high up there for me. So well done, because it also came in like 1995. So if you want me to talk about some X-Men like Apocalypse, I'd like to throw it all out there for you right now. Let's get
yes, please.
All right.
And I'm going to say right now, first of all, X-Men is like a soap opera.
Yes.
It is a long-running soap opera. It's complicated as hell. It is everyone's hooking up with everyone. So much drama. This person's back from the dead. This person's evil twin. Lots of love triangles. Sorry, just had to put that in there. X-Men is a soap opera.
It really is. I never thought about that.
I am not going to say it's a soap opera for dudes, because comics are for girls too, obviously. Hello. Yeah. It's a soap opera for everyone.
It is a soap opera from everyone, because there's so many like sort of situations like, oh my god, back from the dead.
Delightful. It's delightful. It's just all kinds of crack. And
all I can think about now is like somebody making an X-Men soap opera for TV. It brings up
yes, with everyone overacting. I'd watch the hell out of that, man.
Every single person. Oh my god. Some of those X-Men movies were like soap operas. Like
I was gonna say, didn't we already get that?
We kind of got it, but not like they were like this you gotta like, they know they're soap opera. So they're not taking themselves seriously. That's what we need.
The X-Men movies were like pretend. They're like trying to distance themselves from everything that makes X-Men great.
Yeah, unfortunately, especially the costumes. Oh my gosh!
Again, another reason why we drink.
Exactly. And you just put Wolverine in a costume, please. I don't care if it's Marvel now. It's gonna have to be Marvel, and doesn't have to be Hugh Jackman, but just put him in a costume.
Oh, for God's sakes. Yes, yes. Okay. So Age of Apocalypse. Let's get into this amazing, cracktastic, crazy story.
So to know about Age of Apocalypse, you got to know about kind of what Marvel and X-Men was doing in the 90s. So the 90s was a crazy time for comic books. So you got like what comic books writers and artists like, we get kids skateboarding. All right, so they're trying to reach out to the youth of America, because at the time that's who's going to buy these comic books. Like, we got to be edgy. These kids are skateboarding. They're in X Games mode. They got like, this is what we need for these kids, right? So in '95, they're like, all right, so let's come up with this idea. And this pretty much, Age of Apocalypse now stopped it was such an event that all of the titles that were currently like Uncanny and Wolverine switched completely to this world. So in a nutshell, you've got like the character Legion, which is Charles Xavier's son. And I still don't know how it happened, because can he perform from the bottom down? I can't remember how it happened, but he's in a wheelchair, as everyone knows, but I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, some people in wheelchairs can.
That's true. I just didn't know, like, I don't like to picture Charles Xavier having sex. That's not my kink. If it's anyone
else
out there,
same. It's like picturing your dad having sex. Like
I don't want to know.
Nobody wants to know.
But
Immaculate Conception. We're going to go with Immaculate Conception. He's a mutant. That's true. He probably like conceived Legion in his mind, because he's a powerful psychic. So let's go with that.
that is much better than, he's like, come over here, sit on my lap. I don't want to, that's not my Xavier, but if he did that, that's more, Anyway, so his son is Legion. And so Legion is like pretty much like a messed up psychotic character. All right. So, because he really wasn't loved by his dad, that's a whole different tangent. So what he decided to do was he's like, my dad's cool, but who I hate? Magneto. F Magneto. Don't want him. I'm going to travel back in time. I'm going to go way back in time, and I'm going to take Magneto out, son, so he doesn't grow up to be like this crazy, psychopath, and I'm going to do good for the world. So his big mistake was, again, never knew his dad. So, he never knew his dad. So his dad, if he would have just sat, if you just sat on his dad's lap in his wheelchair in the X Mansion, his dad would have said, hey, back then, me and Magneto, we were friends. That was his fatal mistake. So when he goes back in time to kill Magneto, Charles Xavier jumps in front, sacrifices himself. He kills his own dad. In the process, he's like, oh my God, I just killed my dad. Oh my God, I'm also disappearing. Erased from existence completely. So Charles took the hit. Magneto is alive. And then that's just chaos. So boom, he's gone. And then you got I always mess up Apocalypse's name. So I'm going to call it Abin Sir, something like that. So he's just chilling at home.
Sir, yeah.
Yep. Abin Sir, he's chilling wherever he's at. He's like, whoa, Charles Xavier, he's dead. I know maybe in the regular timeline, I'm going to attack in 10 years, but maybe now that he's dead, I'm going to attack right now. So.
Surprise, bitch.
Surprise. Hey. Number one player's off the board. The king. You play chess? I don't know. Something about kings and queens. King's off the board. Time to strike. So strikes right then. Boom. And then Apocalypse like, I'm gonna take this chance right now to get what is mine, what I think is mine. So he takes control of North America, and also in the process, Magneto is like, man, maybe this Charles Xavier, he was onto something. He was right about everything. So I'm gonna create an X-Men of my own and fight Apocalypse. They lose badly. Spoiler alert, this is a 1995. If you've not read this story and you're watching this video for the first time to get your information about the Age of Apocalypse, then there is spoilers all over the board. Just throw that out there right now. You're going to get spoiled. So, yeah, Apocalypse takes over North America. Freaking Magneto's like, hey, I'll create my own X-Men to battle, to take care of this. So that's the jumping off point. So there's, through the whole thing, it creates pretty much an alternate timeline. Earth 295, actually, which was revealed later, but at the time, it changed all the X books, and the whole story unfolds hey, what happens now? So we got Xavier, he's dead. Apocalypse controls North America. His 4 horsemen have split up territories, kind of like Old Man Logan. That storyline. They've taken certain sections of America. The world's in chaos. Apocalypse is like, mutants are superior. I'm gonna kill all humans. So he's trying to cull the humans. Human Resistance League forms, and sort of like a civil war. It's brother versus brother, mutant versus mutant. Whose side are you going to be on? And it sets up some fantastic fights full of the different factions. Fractions are math. That's not this. Factions. So Apocalypse is like, man, I hate humans, but I also love breeding mutants. She's like, Mr. Sinister, why don't you breed me some mutants? And there's breeding pits, and the skateboard.
And we know Mr. Sinister is a fucking creep who loves to take a creepy interest in breeding mutants. So he's all over that shit.
All about. As soon as he said breeding mutants, Mr. Sinister's like, I'm your man. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to breed mutants. So he's breeding mutants like it's crazy. There's rabbits out there. And then Apocalypse is up on his throne. So what they decide, what the remaining, so you've got the remaining humans are like, we just probably should nuke everything like humans do. That's their only answer. And then you've got
they answered everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got the other teams. You're like, all right. So eventually, the mutants start realizing this ain't what's going down. Wolverine, other people are like, man, I think this ain't right. So they're like, well, it's gotta be time travel. It's gotta be time travel. So they start gathering up mutants and stuff. They want to send Bishop, the Bishop is like a shining star in this story, and that's what I kind of like too. Is like, it affects the whole Marvel universe because there's like most like Captain America, dead. Again, if you're a Captain America fan, he's dead. Spider-Man never was Spider-Man. He was just like Gwen Stacy's boyfriend. All of these things, it's just an X-Men sort of story. He's just Gwen Stacy's boyfriend. She's alive. He's dead. Never was Spider-Man. So it's like a ripple effect. It's like Martin McFly going back in time. Kissing his mom. That movie's weird too. That movie got some deep stuff. But yeah, so it's a whole time traveling thing, and eventually, of course, they want to send Bishop back. But in the process, there were so many X books at the time. You got Uncanny X-Men, Generation X, that it's had so many spin-offs and tie-ins to the main story. So it created like a wealth of like characters, new characters, twists on classic characters. Mutant versus mutant. It was cool, but it was for like the Generation X, and that was like even the title. Man, they're like tongue in cheek. Like Marvel was like, "What is this generation that is alive right now that could possibly give us money?" Generation X. Let's make that the name of a comic book. People don't even; those kids might even know. They're just riding by on the skateboards I mentioned earlier.
And it's funny because X-Men. I love how Marvel has milked the X puns to us. I live for it. I live for it.
The Executioner song. There's just so many, like, we can put X in everything. X-Man, which is, of course, like Nathan Summers, the son of, like, Scott and Jean. And there's just X's everywhere, man. It was 90s. It was rad, dude. It was crazy.
What you can do with X and puns.
X puns.
Also, Storm had the most badass mohawk to signify that it was the apocalypse, and also she was hip with what the cool kids were doing.
Absolutely, that she was down with it, man. She was.
It was such a look, though. It was such a look, but it was totally pandering to Generation X.
It really was like, somebody go to New York, stand on the street corner. What do these kids look like? Draw it. Stan Lee was like, that's what he was saying. I don't know if it's Stan, but it probably wasn't Stan. But yeah, that was the 90s. It was like edge. We got to put an edge on this thing. And what is edgier than like, Beast being Dark Beast? Dark Beast. We need to make Beast dark. How can we make him be Dark Beast? Someone in Marvel's like, Stan Lee's thinking like, he's thinking, I like inspiration, but I also like, what is something that is, a name for Beast, but he's evil? Dark Beast. That's it. Dark Beast. And that's what we got, man. But that was cool. So I really love, like, it sounds like I'm going to rag on it, but I love the storyline because there was so many great things. And it really explored, like, our favorite characters in a different light. And I think that was, like, the first time it was, like, a really big shakeup. You got, like, stuff like Days of Future Past and things like that, but it didn't reach all the way through. It didn't, like, reach every mutant, and it didn't introduce, like, new things. And this was, like, the first time I remember, like, whoa. Like Uncanny X-Men stopped and the whole title was changed to something else and they just continue on in the numberation. I'm like, that's kind of a big deal. So I stopped my skateboard. I jumped off, grabbed an issue, and I'm like, I'm gonna start reading this thing. I'm gonna start reading. But that's just like the main gist, like the side stuff is what I loved. And my favorite part of the whole thing was the Cyclops and Wolverine stuff. By far. Like, I know everyone loved, like, there's a lot to love in Age of Apocalypse. There's, the Colossus stuff we'll get to later, but like, so you've got like Cyclops and Wolverine, who has been, their tensions have been building for a long, long time, right? So you've got the animated cartoon, where you start seeing how like Wolverine has really got his eyes for Jean, and Scott Summers like, that's my girl. Don't do it. That's her and me. Who are you? Right? Cyclops, was sort of a dick in that time. And he was even more so here because like what he decided to do was he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go with Mr. Sinister. I'm gonna go with Apocalypse. That's the side I want to be on. And Wolverine's like, why? And then Wolverine's like, well, no, I'm gonna go with Charles' dream. I'm gonna go with the you shouldn't like exterminate all these humans. That's for me. And then Jean's like, whoa, Wolverine, I kind of see you in a different light now. So Jean goes with Wolverine. They shack up. I'm assuming multiple times. It's not shown, but Wolverine's like, it's time. I've been trying so hard, and if I'd known this whole time just to say, hey, I love humans, it would have got there quicker. But so the two of them together. So Wolverine and Cyclops like, F you guy, and the other guy's like, F you, and he's like, X you guy, and then Wolverine, Cyclops like, Pew! I'm a fucking optic blast you, son, and he cuts off Wolverine's hand, just straight off, lops it off. Wolverine's like, this does not stand. I will not let this stand, Cyclops, you dick. So he right there, straight through his eye. So Cyclops looks cool. He's got one eye. He's a Cyclops again. Someone's like, you know what? We got the youth of the nation. What? Cyclops? He's got two eyes. That doesn't make sense. Have you seen the Odyssey? Come on now. Have you read the Iliad, bro? Cyclops is a one-eyed creature. So let's make Wolverine cut out one of his eyeballs. Done. Like he's wearing this cool eye patch. So like the designs are cool. Like Wolverine's title is called Weapon X now, right? It's called Weapon X. It's edgy. Weapon X. Again, X. They could have so many X puns. It should be like, this is the exit. Like the end is what they should have done.
How many times can we force X into this title?
Let's get X in there, man.
It's not a common letter, people. It's not.
It's not, man. It's not. That's the.
And yet,
it's a marketing ploy, man. And later, Degeneration X took it on in WWE because they're like, this was a great storyline. Let's bring it into wrestling. Boom. That's a whole different. Triple H. Damn. X-Pac. China. Rest in peace. But so Wolverine's like, yeah, man. So Cyclops got one eye. My favorite moment of the whole thing, and actually, like, there's a lot of pivotal moments in the whole storyline because, like, you got the character growth and sort of the what if and what is, the whole thing is, hey, if I go back in time and kill Hitler, is the world a better place? And it sort of explored those sort of themes and stuff like that. But when Wolverine got his hand cut off, so in a time in the 90s, it didn't really explore sort of like Wolverine's sort of origin. So we knew that Wolverine was a character that got in the Weapon X program, got his adamantium on his body, all over his body, top to bottom, toes to head. Right. So Wolverine's like, I'm gonna kill a machine. I got these claws that come out. So the pivotal moment I think it was like, I can't remember what number Weapon X it was. Well, he got super mad. So Jean Grey gets captured because what Mr. Sinister wants to do is like, I will take your DNA and kill all the humans. I'm talking about like top breed. So Mr. Sinister's like, what's the pedigree of breeding? Oh, Jean Grey. She's the top of the list. So they try to steal her. They got her. So he's like super mad. So his hand that was off. So his left hand's got the claws and his other hand's cut off completely. He gets super mad and the claws come out of his stub on his arm and everyone was like, what? And that's when we realized that it was like, what? That's when we realized that like the claws were there the whole time. His mutation included the claws and they existed. Everyone thought like, what? They put claws in Wolverine. And they're like, no, he's born with them. He had those claws. And like, I remember as kids like,
like mind blown.
My mind was way blown. Like Dark Beast, yeah, I get it. Cyclops, one eye, I get it. Wolverine claws the whole time. Wolverine looks down. I had claws the whole time. He didn't even know. He's like, so I love that moment. That's probably one of like my favorite moments. Besides, some other stuff. But yeah, it was so cool. And then it continued on, and it wrapped up nicely. And it was a nice like. Again, of course, they send Bishop back to prevent the whole thing from happening. And then when he did so, it actually splintered the universe and it became its own multiverse because later in the 2000s, they did like a 10-year anniversary or something to revisit it. But it was cool. I mean, I loved it. It was like a lot of growth for a lot of the characters and, except for Dark Beast. That was just Dark Beast. He survived and came back to like the regular 616 universe, but it's sort of lame. Beast. Not cool. Sorry,
On
Beast.
the nose. Like his name is already Beast. Let's make him evil. Like, come on now.
Yeah, Dark Beast. I'm sure that someone's like, they're looking at names like Evil Beast, Bad Guy Beast, Dark Beast. There's like, yeah, that one's all right. That one's okay. X Beast? No, we've used too many X's. One more, no one's gonna buy it. Fine. The guy's like, I really wanted X Beast, and he goes off and cries. That's all right. Dark Beast. But yeah, I love the storyline, and they've got collected editions. It was a lot because, like I said, it was they get Generation X and X-Men and all of it. So it was a huge tie into all the X-Men comics, and I know they've got collected editions and things like that. So if you out there, people are interested, get that story because it's really really cool. The new